Hello, my friends, and welcome. Alright, so hopefully today won't disappoint you for those of you that have been following along today. It was the creation of the name for a spirit, or at least creating a path for a potent spirit to come forth, through which it can be named, through which we can create as a result of this. So, let's see if I can't angle and adjust this camera just a little bit. There we go. See all the fun tools in front of me on the desk? Well, that is what we're going to discuss each and every piece of here in just a moment. But first, I'm going to ask the pendulum. North, west is yes. North, south is yes. East, west is no. Are there any spirits that are attached to these ingredients? And so far, the answer is no. It's moving back and forth. Release. Okay, so the ingredients for creating this particular blend, this particular attachment, if you will, is that I'm going to be making a spirit totem for the blend that will help us create a spirit specifically for the Spell a Day project, for the Spell a Day Grimoire, and for the application of it for other purposes, so that people can have a spirit protector, so that they can have something that they can call forth in a time of need, or from an example of summoning these herbs, so that I'll create the base here, and then by drawing the sigil in the corresponding ink that will be made out of the Spell a Day formulations, right? There are some things that we'll go over as I go through the process of how I'm making this particular totem, right? There's dirt from a pauper's grave. There's a piece of anaconda skin. There is a piece of golden labradorite with which to hold the spirit. There is, oopsies, and as I screwed it up, I had it pre-prepped, is the thing by which I will tie all of the pouch together, okay? And so there's ample amount of this. These are Thai silver beads with Thai silver, obsidian, silver again, and then there's 7 labradorite beads, or not labradorite, sorry, lava beads, okay? So this is tying to the earth in the masculine and the feminine. It's drawing forth from the earth itself in its period of creation. So we are creating a construct by which we can create. Okay, now I've used beading wire, and this is a linen thread that is used for bookbinding. So you can use this to bind your grimoires together when we start doing that project by hand this year. So we'll be making our own spell books later on this year. So let's get to it, shall we? And just if you think that any of you chaos motherfuckers are going to be all up and out, I did prep a ingredient blend that is specific, that has a protection element to it, that is designed specifically to deal with you. Anybody who tries to fuck with this particular talisman is going to meet this particular entity instead of the one that it is going to be used for the safety of our little grouping here. And so this starts it off. Because unlike the Ellis web, this is going to be something that needs to have some checks and balances to it. So this will be the first ingredient that we add, is the Protective Talisman, that keeps other people from fucking with the spirit that we're creating specifically for the protection and the application of our work as it relates to the manifestation that we seek. And so again, the tea of the day is the huckleberry one that Guy sent me over the holidays, which I absolutely adore and cannot thank you enough for, man. This is fantastic stuff. So, as we get our whistles wet, so to speak, there are our protectorate entity that is separate from the entity that we will be animating today. Now, on that, we are going to place the piece of golden labradorite, okay? On top of that, we're going to be taking a little bit of the graveyard dirt, okay? And so in this, we'll have, I'll say, 1 teaspoon of grave dirt, right? Reason why is just to create a boundary, because this has been blessed land. We take the cemetery dirt because it's a receptacle of spirit, right? And in this case, these are spirits that are wandering. These are spirits that have no particular attachment, no particular home, no particular place to be, no particular family, because for whatever reason, they were paupers. They were not able to afford the nice headstones and such. So we have our Protective Talisman, we have the Golden Labradorite, and we have the Graveyard Dirt. And now we add today's spell blend of the day, which is the conjuration and naming of a spirit. So we add a little bit of that into this today. All right, and then we are going to add the attachment of a spirit to a body. This is going to be week 1, spell number 3. So we're going to take a little bit of this, and I made it an extract, or a tincture in this case. It's just a couple of drops, because as the alcohol absorbs, the material will bond together, okay? And I do have a spirit anchoring formulation that is specific to the people that are actually studying with me. So that is going in here as well, guys. So for those of you that are not a part of the spell a day but are doing the deeper studies with me, we are using that in this to anchor the spirits to the body of the talisman that we are making. And then we're going to add the... Oop, not yet. We are going to add... Where did it go? To elevate for a higher purpose. So this is going to be week 5, day 5. And remember last week that I said that we have the spells by which we can elevate spirits to higher purposes? This is the thing. And so as we add the spell of adding for higher purposes that we made, to that we're going to add the week 4, day 7 blend of calling spirits. Okay, so we're going to be creating that as a means of summons. And this again has patchouli root in it. This has a few other ingredients. Mind your allergies with this stuff, folks. You know, as you work with your ingredient blends and everything like that, you don't necessarily, you know, want to end up poisoning yourself, but you do want to be kind of careful as you are working with these things. And of course the corks are extremely dry in my case, so we have to be careful not to ruin the bottle. And so we're going to add some of that blend. You don't need very much of it because again, you've already got the place where you're calling the spirits out of, which is the graveyard dirt. There is the protectorate entity, which hopefully doesn't need to become animated in all of this. And then we're going to take the 4 corners of our snakeskin talisman here, and we're going to hold them and crimp them, and then it creates a nice little pouch. Okay? And then from that little pouch, we're going to take the thing that we made. In this case, it's got the little silver beads that are all around it, and we're going to use those to help tighten this thing down. So without it falling open, hopefully, I can do this on the first go. You know, I was practicing this for like the last 2 hours, so I was like, all right, how's this going to go together, and how can I make it not look like I'm an idiot? But I'll probably still look like an idiot anyway. So we're going to loop the thread through one of the beads, and by doing that, we'll create the seal for the thread, so it won't cut the leather, but it will create the tightness that we need in order to keep all of those ingredients nice inside and tied up. And so from that, we have our nice little spells talisman, and then we just wrap the string around it in a couple of different ways. Again, I am not a fan of using adhesives for any of my work when it comes to the manufacturing of these little guys, so there's no glue on any of this. It's all silver beads or wire and knots. And so we tighten the knot, and we bring this down, we do it again, and we rotate the way that the order of the knots go, one over the other. We're going to do 7 knots. There's 3. There's 4. There's 5. Here's 6. And here's 7. The reason we do 7 is because, well, today is Friday, so this is a spirit of Venus. That's also the number for the planet of life, right? And so with this, we have it wrapped around our little finger, or our middle finger in this case, and we can suspend it and we can call it forth. But again, this is an inanimate object, right? There's nothing in this just yet. And so when we are going to be making something along these lines in order to be able to do a sending or do a summoning, you can wrap it around your finger, hold it in your hand, and then call the spirit forth. Okay, so for the people that end up picking these up or getting these as part of their studies, I'll just say it straight up. Like, if this is part of your studies to create spell talismans and such, and you start making your own and you start using them in this way, you can take this with you and you can hang this from your staff. You can hang this from your sacred space. You can hang this from an altar. You can suspend this wherever you need to in order to be able to create a space of protection, which will summon the spirit that we're about to create. Okay? And now, we don't have to have a specific sigil inside of this because of the ingredients that it's already made. We're going to bond it to this using the ingredient blend that we've already constructed. Okay? And so by doing that, how we do that exactly is we're going to move that out of the way. All right. And again, mind your allergies with this stuff, folks, because you don't want to poison yourself. All right. So we are going to create Week 2 Spell 2's Pacting Ink base is going to be the foundation of this blend, okay? So this establishes a bond between you and the ingredients that you're working with, okay? So we have that. Those little pipettes are fucking awesome if you don't already have them. This is going to be the spell of Calling Spirits. So again, Week 4, day 7. We put a little bit of that in there. We're going to use the spell of the day for making a spirit and calling it forth. Again, it's already mixed inside of this blend. We're just attaching an image to it. And then I'm going to use a little bit of cinnamon tincture because I really like this stuff. This is really, really high density alcohol. So mind yourself with this because this shit will catch on fire if it is exposed to flame until the alcohol actually dissolves. So this is why no candles are lit, no incense are lit, right? You know, we don't want any of the flammable qualities of this to be released. And then we're going to use a little bit of the spell to cause an attachment for a spirit to its body. So that way, again, we've put a little bit of this into the talisman. We're putting a little bit of this into the liquid that we were making. And again, this is something that we are creating custom. And in the beginning of this, I did the reading, right? I demonstrated it with the pendulum. So that way what you've got going on is the understanding that there is no spirit attached to this particular thing. And so taking the paintbrush with the herbs, okay? And I drew it in pencil so that way I would have the copy of what the arrangement would look like. Because it's this, that even though it's pencil, it's because of that blend that goes on it. And as this dries here for a minute, what we can then do is, oh, I only have the one brush with me. All right. I'm going to grab the other brush real quick. This should work just nicely. All right, so this one's a little bit bigger than the one I would normally use, but in this case, it'll actually work probably a little bit better. So again, we're using that spirit anchoring formulation that I was talking about earlier, and I'm going to be attaching the spirit of this blend to this symbol using its India ink with the spirit anchoring formulation in it. And so we have it. So this would be the spirit conjuring thing that we use to summon up a protectorate spirit for the Academy project. So this is going to become an entity that we have animated, that we decide will protect those who are going to be useful to the Academy's projects. Like you're in the shit, you can draw this symbol, right? You can call it forth. We'll have a name for it eventually, but right now it's still in the process of formation, so it has no name. It has no attachment. Okay? And so this will become its body. This will be the symbol by which we summon it forth. All right? And so once this is dry, you know, good thing. I'm using also Japanese rice paper, so it dries pretty damn quick. But we'll give that a moment here. And then the talisman, which will be bonding the spirit to. And now this is a shiny new toy that I've been itching to play with for a while. Okay? The nice thing about this is not only does it demonstrate the qualities of smoke, but it will suffumigate the entire thing, both sigil and talisman. Okay? And so by being able to have such a thing done, everything gets it. And so we put this into here on top of the base on which it'll be summoned. So this goes like that, and it fits inside the dome, so that way there's nothing that's going outside of the dome, so that way everything inside this nice little world gets put inside of there. And it'll go like this. Now, a few weeks ago, I made an array for summoning up spirits and conjuring things. This was made for Samhain with November 1st in mind. So I made this actually on the 31st, and then on the 1st, I did the blood runes in the center, which was both unexpected and delightfully effective. So, yay for that. All right, so we've got sigil, we've got the array, we've got the spirit talisman that's going to be put on top of this. Okay, so we're just placing those things on top of each other. And now comes the fun part. Intermixed in here is again, it's for the students that are following along with me. This is the spirit anchoring formula and a spirit summoning blend, which I use. Okay, so inside of this, I'm going to attach the top part of the smoker. And so with this, let's see if I can fix the camera just a little bit so you can actually see the table as I do this. All right, so the array exists. We see it. This piece here should go inside. Oh, it's going to be difficult. Oh, it doesn't have a hole in it yet. Huh. New toys and all. So, okay, there is that. There's a hole. We punch this. Oh, for Pete's sake. Through the hole. Ideally as airtight as possible, because you don't want to breathe this shit in. There we go. Alright, so smoker top attached to thingy. Thingy goes over thingy. Talisman and sigil are inside of this. And so we turn it on. And it heats that part up. And again, this is the spirit summoning incense formulation, okay? And so we're going to put this in here. And so as it heats this up, it'll put the smoke inside of this. So it is a noisy little bastard. So we'll let this run for a little bit. And as it blows, out comes the smoke. So that's getting sucked. into our conjuration urn, right? So we've created the entire thing by which and you can see the smoke starting to fill up in here. So now that the whole thing is becoming suffumigated by spirit conjuring ingredients. So we're going to turn that off. We're going to put this over the top of it so I don't continuously waste it. We'll take this out. And we'll put the stuff to the side because that is hot as fuck. Alrighty, so we now have the thing being suffumigated with the spirit conjuring ingredients. The spell talisman is in there and the sigil by its summons is in there. And so, again, I said earlier today there is no spirit bound. I'd use the pendulum and it went east-west to say no. North-south is yes. So, now, the spell of the Grimoire of Arts. In this case, we're going to do the spell of summoning, okay? Or the spell, in this case, of animation. I just forgot which page I put that on, so we're going to have to bind spirits. I'm not going to bind you. I'm going to animate you. So we're going to bring animation to this, okay? So this will be on page 259 of your copy of the Grimoire of Arts. And this is the entire process of creating a spell talisman, totem, creating the sigil of its summons, and animating the spirit. Okay? So just to recapitulate what we've done all so far. And so, feet firmly planted on the ground, no shoes or socks, because you're creating a conduit. Right? You can sit upright in your chair, so you don't have to actually be standing for this. You can say, I summon the forces that created the world by the balance of all things. I summon within me the force of life that is inherent in all things. By the vital breaths, I give the vital breaths to thee. I draw in the consciousness of the source, and I draw in the very life of nature. I draw in the very essence of the source, and I breathe upon thee the vital breath of consciousness. I breathe into thee the vital life of nature. I breathe upon thee the vital breath, and you are to become conscious of all things. You are to become as I need you to fulfill the task to which you are given. You are to be of the natural order of this world, to complete all tasks for which you are created, to serve those who would have you in the time of their need. You are given to this purpose and the mind for this task. Rise now and be of this essence. Complete the tasks which I have set for you. Right? And now, for me, the energy has moved from the body's center, from up from the earth, down my arm, into the globe which contains the spirit summoning spell, right? Into the suffumigated talisman and totem, so that everything exists within this vessel. And it exists for the purpose of being summoned forth. So now that everything is set, we're going to do a restoration of life. So that way the dead material inside comes to life to serve us. Okay? That which is dead now is not. The cells which are slowed now are not. Restore the dead to life. Though nature must run her course, return them to life. Be restored, spirits of the paupers' graves. By the power of Aset that raised from the land of shadows, by the magic of Aset that returned the spark of life, and by the power of the craft of life, the dead rise before me. Aset in this case being the Isis principle that raised Asar to life. I don't know about you, but my eye right here is buzzing like fucking mad. So, to rend what heaven forged by the blackest flame, my desire rise forth and take forth the light. By my will and word and such deaths are made, I call for the blood and the deed. Come forth, O monster, O nightmare, O horror shade. For the bonds now rise to me, to this task which I have commanded of thee, that you are bound eternally. No foulness, no horror, nor deceiving lies. No form of darkness shall you take before my eyes. To serve as all the ways that I require. Be bound here, spirit made of my desire. And so as you go through, that's a modification of the spell on page 269. And so you've animated everything to receive the spirit of life. Then we've given the spirit of life. And now we are conjuring the vessel to attune to the spirit of life. And so by doing that, we are able to seal the spirit within it. We are able to create that spirit within it. And so I bind by the seal of the spirit which slumbers that which now shall be awakened until the ending of time. I bind to this essence outside of time. I bind to this place in its very own. Into this vessel I hold at hand, removed from this and all other lands. I bind by this vessel the spirit to soul, this flesh. Come forth as I require, spirit made of my desire. Okay? And so you can fumigate the air a little bit. Okay? And since that's a piece of glass, we can wash that and all of the residue and such will come off of it. And thus we have a talisman that has been animated. And I will ask the same question that I asked this morning before we began this a half an hour ago. I asked that if there is any spirit bound and attached to these ingredients currently, you'll move this pendulum north, south for yes, east, west to no. Spirits of the air and spirits of the earth and spirits of this before me, is there a spirit attached here? And so, my friends, you have it. A spirit attachment in a totem. Verified by a pendulum. Thank you and release, my friend. And so what we are and what we are doing in this case, you can then use, that tangles, you can then conjure it forth, and you can, by the seal at hand, I call forth the spirits, and we can bind spirits to this talisman and totem, and you can carry this with you. And this can be one of the spirits that is summoned forth by this. So this will be a gateway through which you can summon other spirits. This will be a specific one that we use to protect people along the way and on their journey. And the thing that's inside of here that keeps everybody nice and safe and keeps everything from being eaten is one of my personal friends of the other side. So that way, for those people that decide to try to hex this, like they try to plug in the Ellis sigil or they try to fuck up the consciousness of it, that's not a viable option. That's not something that becomes possible without massive repercussions on their end of things. And so what it can also do is it can sit on its little thing, and the spirits can do what they want with it, and it'll just sit up on my altar until it's time for its need, right? But that way it sits on the lava and it moves with the silver and it has those ingredients in it. And as obsidian is made by the spirits and as a gateway, right, you pass through it. So, you know, the lava is the glass that's the reflection of the other worlds, and so the spirits, and so the things can come forth from it. So that everything in this has a purpose. Everything else in this serves a purpose. And now we have a fully animated sigil that will be attached to the spirits, now attached for the Academy's purposes, right? And so we have everything that we need in order to be able to do necromantic working out in the general populace. So, for those that have tuned in for this entire video, I thank you very much. I apologize if it's a little bit slower pace than the other ones, but I wanted to give you the full conjurations, the full applications of these things, and the ingredients that we've used consistently throughout the duration of this project. So that way, the only things that you don't have for the public use is the spirit anchoring formula and the spirit summoning formula. But both of those are and have been shared with the members of this community that are doing it and are going to need those blends. So thank you, my friends. Stay safe. Mind your allergies with this stuff. You don't necessarily want to do what I did and have no ventilation going on when that particular incense is going, because there is some crazy shit in that. So I got to go cleanse this place. I'm going to go put this up on its altar. I'm going to stick this in the spell book for our community. And yeah, we are rocking and rolling with the necromancy, folks. Stay safe. May your blessings in the new year bring all the spirits forward that you need. And if you need to draw the symbol for pulling a spirit forth, let that be a gateway through which useful spirits might be summoned to aid you in your work. So that way, as you move forward, you don't have to necessarily use any particular spirit. You can conjure them through the gateway, through the talisman, through the totem. So either you can have the talisman totem with you, or you can just draw the sigil, and both will work as a means of summons. But this one, in this case, is to draw spirits forth from wherever they are at and plug them into the current of the anchorage. So that way we have spirits that we can work with. We have a means by which there is a pact, a promise to be fulfilled, right? We don't need to we didn't, in any of our work, none of it did we say there is a pact to be fulfilled, right? They're just coming out. They're just coming through. This becomes a gateway. So this is a gateway working, my friends. And as we move into the new year, think about that. What are you inviting into your life that's going to be a gateway for your spirit to travel on, for other spirits to travel on, so that way they can and you can work in harmony as you summon up whatever forces that you need to in order to be able to be of use to your community. So I wanted to demonstrate that for you today, my friends. I will chat with you later. Hit me up in the comments, and I will wish you a very happy new year. And I will see you for tomorrow's first lesson on using the Grimoire of Arts. That will be a Zoom thing streamed into the Facebook community here. It should last about 4 hours long for those of you that are going to participate. Have your copy of the Codex Arcana Volume 1 and or your copy of the Grimoire of Arts, because both will be viable as this information will be contained therein. Alrighty, my friends. Stay safe. Remember, don't be evil. This is where it becomes very important for me to say that, is because you don't want to let these dark spirits or these forgotten spirits or these lost spirits command you or bind you or work with you in a way that is outside of what it is you are willing to do yourself, right? If you wouldn't do it, don't ask a spirit to do it. Period. That's it. The end. Alrighty. Thank you, my friends. Stay safe and Happy New Year.